If you're hoping to see me in anything other than a frickin' hoodie from now until March next year, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I was not built for these conditions. Before we get into the meat of this, I'll let you know now, I am not going to be talking about any kind of Sean Strickland controversy. I could. I pay attention to it all and I store it all up in my little hate sack. But I don't want to contribute to spreading the word of that scumbag around any further. I will say, however, where's my coffee? That's what I'll say, and we'll leave it at that. I will say, however, that following a recent podcast interview he did with Brendan Schaub, Strickland did admit that he wasn't mentally stable enough to be doing interviews at this point in time, and he was going to stop and focus on his upcoming fight instead. And that may be the most human thing we've ever seen from him. This little glimpse of humanity may be something to do with the fact that he suffered his first KO loss since 2018, the last time we saw him out. And it was extra, embarrassing because the person who KO'd him was someone that he had been mercilessly ripping into about their striking abilities.
Let me tell you guys something. There's not one glory kickboxer in any weight class that I couldn't stand and bang with.
It's karma, baby. That is very immediate karma. And that person now just so happens to be the new middleweight champion Alex Pereira, who won that accolade due to his striking abilities. And on that same card that Strickland got knocked out, his opponent also took the L, though in not such a dramatic fashion, and against the former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, who was the champion at the time, so it was more of an impressive loss. You know what I mean? It's like Cannonier here, Strickland down in the dirt where he belongs. So now we have two conflicting redemption stories and one timeline. Very different fighters, very different people, but they'll be standing nose to nose come in a minute for you. Bit later for me, bit later. Sean Strickland, Jared Cannonier, face to face, facing off, face. We were supposed to get this fight back in October, but Sean Strickland got an infection in his finger from fingering his sparring partner's tooth. I don't know what these kids are getting up to these days, honestly. Just be smart, young'uns. Wear protection. Like a mouth guard would be a good start. Especially if you're sparring Sean Strickland, who is notoriously a knobhead. Strickland had to have a minor procedure and some STI treatment, and the fight was cancelled but then rebooked pretty soon after. Sean, in the aforementioned podcast, said that it's a real big possibility that he might be getting knocked out again this time out. So that last fight seems to be weighing heavy on his mind. Usually Sean is relentless in the octagon. He doesn't seem to have that fear or caution part of the brain that other humans have. He just charges forward, imposing himself on his opponent. He only seems to know fight and not flight. But maybe we're not going to see that Strickland this time out. Maybe he's had some sense knocked into him. We can dream. Allow a girl to dream. It's Christmas. It's a bloody Christmas miracle. In theory, we always know how an SS dickhead fight is gonna go, because the captain of said ship admits that he doesn't ever watch tape on his opponents, as it stops him being himself in there. So that's what we're going to see. We always know we're going to see pure, unfiltered, unadulterated Strickland. And he says this time out is no different. He's never seen Jared fight. But of course that doesn't mean that his team and the people like planning his camps haven't. And maybe that's the way it should be. Fighters is not a reason why. There is no try, only do as you're told. I don't know. However, despite all of the dumb that falls directly out of his brain through into the world through his mouth hole like a fetus just swinging from an OAP, Sean has said that he knows one thing about his opponent. He's a scary motherfucker.
Jared Cannonier, he's a fucking scary motherfucker, dude.
And he's not wrong. Cannonier has been doing this a long time, and by this I mean knocking fuckers out. Remember that vicious ground and pound, those elbows, hello, that took Brunson out of there. Woof. He is so precise, so technical with his striking. He has a really high fight IQ, rarely makes mistakes, and he has raw power backed up by incredible conditioning. Even though both of these guys are coming into this off of losses, either one of them could find themselves in a #1 title contention conversation if they get the W tonight, and that conversation will likely also include the winner of Whittaker Costa if that fight ever comes into fruition. TBC, we ain't sure. And hopefully, in the time all of that is playing out, we can squeeze in a rematch between Izzy and Pereira, because you better believe I haven't forgotten about my boy Adesanya. And that's all I'll say at this point in time. Cut forward to watching these fights and seeing how many more layers I've put on by that point. We are still pushing this hoodie to its goddamn limits, lads. Oh, she's tired. Should we watch this fight? Or should we watch this fight through our delirious minds, and maybe it's not a fight at all, maybe it's the Cabbage Patch Kids. Both these guys are known for their striking, so do not go and grab that snack, ladyface. You should have been better prepared. Both their styles are just as different as their personalities. Like, Cannonier is really patient. He bides his time and he picks his shots, and that's what makes him so crazily accurate. Now, Sean usually charges forward from the very first bell, like squared up, hands low, but we're not seeing that from him. We're potentially seeing a little hesitancy, maybe respecting the power of this scary motherfucker, potentially just aware of the promise of 5 rounds. Now, Sean's volume is starting to pick up a little bit to more of what we're used to. Like, usually it's a constant barrage of punches, fast jabs and straight rights like a rock'em sock'em robot. I miss the rock'em sock'em robot. And Strickland's game plan is usually to overwhelm his opponents, but if he's smart against Cannonier, he'll use his wrestling. Like, Cannonier, it's pretty hard to take down, but Sean's already sort of managed it. I mean, he did take him down, but he didn't keep him down. So if Sean can get past his really, really good takedown defense, then he'll definitely have the advantage on the map. He can wear at Jared's gas tank, take that power away, and get ahead on the judges' scorecard. But we all know that Strickland is a headhunter, whereas Cannonier usually takes a more kind of measured approach, like mixing up his strikes, which is what we're seeing here. Like, Strickland's almost exclusively landed to the head, and Cannonier's gone in for that lead leg. He's landed a couple of body shots as well. Now, Cannonier has a habit of getting hit in the head quite a lot, so hopefully in this camp he's been working on his movement, his head movement. But that jab of Strickland is landing pretty consistently now. Strickland's movement is incredible, and he's he's using his height as well to really cause Jared some issues in terms of following his path to victory, which is to land those power shots and play a little psychological warfare on a potentially delicate Strickland. This is such a calculated and composed fight for Sean Strickland. Usually his think less, do more attitude does leave him open for counters, and Jared's style does allow him to, or would allow him to capitalise on that, get those patented power shots landed and send him to the canvas. So this is smart for Sean, even if it's not what we were hoping for. Oh, aggression unlocked. Let's have it, lads. These two are dancing, as in, like, they are matching one another's energy exactly. It's such an even fight. Really hard one to call. Oh, Cannonier is touching him now. And by touching, I mean cracking his goddamn jaw like a cowboy chiropractor. I've just realised this might go to the judges, and we should all be nervous about that following last week's debacle. It's getting hot in here. Oh, this is the fight we wanted, boy. Tom Cruise is really crushing on Drew Dober after his knockout earlier. Play it cool, Dom. The world is watching. So fucking close. I reckon they pretty much matched on volume, but Jared was landing the bigger shots. There was that takedown in round 1, but it didn't keep him down. And Jared's just been the more aggressive fighter, like he's really been putting on the pressure, putting his old MR into it. So I reckon the judges probably going to give it to Brendan Fitzgerald, to be honest. Lol, 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 lol. Split decision for Jared feels about right, but that accent, oof, it's us that's winning now. And with that, the 2022 season comes to a close. I'm still reeling from that Wonder Boy Trailblazer. Yeah, that's his name. That's his nickname. It's not Big Mouth. The Holland-Thompson fight from a couple of weeks ago. But what I really want to know from you is, which was your favourite fight of 2022? And are there any fights, either rumoured, confirmed, completely made up in your brains, that you want to see in 2023? I'm still going to be bringing you the premium nonsense every week, despite the fact the UFC has the audacity to take a month off, starting with a weird internet video. And if you've not had the delight of witnessing one of those before, I'll link it for you on the end screen. Then, in the final Sunday of 2022, no, is it technically 2023 by that Sunday? No one knows what's going on this time of year in terms of the calendars. They may as well just erase all the dates and say, we'll let you know when you have to go back to work. So it may be the week after that anyway. I'm going to be talking about my hopes and dreams for 2023. Like, comment, send me Christmas gifts, etc. Love you.